I got pranked as an adult. And let me go there. This is the story of Ronnie. So a couple years ago, it's been a couple years actually. You know, that's crazy. A couple years ago, I'm living at my parents' house. And I'm out with the boys. And I'm on the way home. And I see a random guy ride past me on his bike as I'm parking in front of the house. And I see, as I'm getting out the car, I see my sister and my wife at the front door saying, hey, there was a guy that was banging on the fence. And then he was in our front yard stroking our cat. And I was like, our cat? What's he look like? She's like, he's on a bike and he just left. I was like, dude, I just saw a dude on a bike. I get back in the car, circle the neighborhood, find it. I go up to the guy. I'm like, yo, you good? Like, what's up? And he's like, oh, I'm looking for my friend Tyler. And he looks messed up, this guy. And he clearly pulling like names out of his ass. So I'm like, Tyler? I don't know. There's no Tyler that lives there, bro. Don't come back to my house. I know he's like trying to save face. You know, he don't want having problems. Oh, all right. I go home. So I go home, no problem. Next morning, our neighbor comes by. She's like, hey, did a guy come over to your house yesterday? I was like, yes. As a matter of fact, he stroked my cat. She's like, I'm sorry about that. He's my ex-fiance and I have a restraining order against him. Next morning, neighbor comes by. She's like, hey, there was a guy, you know, bothering you last night? I'm like, yes. Matter of fact, he was stroking our cat. She's like, I'm sorry about that. That's my ex-fiance and I have a restraining order against him. He's not supposed to be here. Turns out he was hitting her fence, but because it's connected to ours, we thought it was our fence. She's like, don't worry about it. He's not going to come back. So we're like, cool. All right. Over. Next morning, she comes by and she tells us, like just as we walk by, she goes, did any of you guys leave a mandarin in front of my house? We're like, why the hell would we leave you fruit? We barely know. We just met you, you know? And I was like, it's probably your, you know, ex-fiance. She's like, oh my God, this is so weird. I'm going to the messenger to the boys. I go back to the messenger to the boys. I'm like, yo, you will never believe what just happened. And dude, when I complain, I still somehow like try to joke about it because that's just naturally, I joke about everything. And I was like, yo, mandarins, bro, and all this kind of crap. I get home that night after hanging out with the boys. I see a mandarin in front of our door. I'm like, yo, this dude is sending a signal, right? I go inside. Next morning comes by. Dad wakes up to go to Fajr, the masjid. I pray at home like a wussy. He comes back. He's like, I found a mandarin in front of our door. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's that guy. So that night, me and my dad stay up. And we have a bat, like a metal bat, and we're just chilling in front of the house. We see him ride by, he turns around and goes the other way. So like, he's never gonna do that again. Next night, see another mandarin. I'm getting concerned, nigga. These are getting bigger and bigger. It's almost an orange now. You know what I'm saying? He leaves. We call the cops. This guy's not scared of anything. Keeps leaving fruit. Call the cops. He's at the end of the street. Cops pick him up. Tell him, get the hell out of this neighborhood. We're like, cool. Alhamdulillah, all's good. Next day, I see another mandarin. This time, it's on top of a cherry pie. And not even a good one, like the boxed ones. The ones that you got to do work.
Those like super artificial.
I'm freaking out. But I'm still going back to the guys telling them, yo, you'll never believe this. I'm freaking out inside, but I'm joking about it on the outside because how else do I process this?
Yeah. And why are you freaking out?
Because there's a serial killer on the loose and he's leaving fruit. You know, there's no, like, what one day is going to be, you know, like a head or something. Like, you know, I don't know. But the fact that this guy is like stalking us, you know, my cat's outside, you know what I'm saying? Anything could happen.
Especially the cat.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe he got mad because I kind of ran up on him and I was like, yo, don't ever come back to our house. I don't know if he like, I don't know. This guy looks out of his mind. You call the cops, they don't answer, they don't do anything. My dad's freaking out. My mom's freaking out. My wife's freaking out. And at the same time, by the way, me and my wife are living in the downstairs bedroom, the only bedroom on the downstairs floor. So, nigga, if he comes in, we getting the mandarin. You know what I'm saying? So I can't. You know, I'm getting worried. But of course, I go to the message. I'm like, yo, boys, you don't understand, man. This shit is crazy. So I take 6 of the guys, all bring their cars. We go to my house. Because my dad just called saying another mandarin. There's another mandarin. I'm like, oh my God. So we all get there. We all turn off the lights. We're sitting in the car waiting for him to pass by. This guy don't show up tonight. I'm like, out of all nights, you don't show up. Now, mind you, I haven't seen him for like 4 nights. but I keep seeing the Mandarin, so I know he's there. Doesn't show up this night, but I get out the car to go into my dad to talk to my dad to tell him, hey, we surveilled the place. We locked down the perimeter. We didn't see nothing. And on the way to the house to tell my dad that there's nothing to be worried about, I stepped next to a Mandarin. Now I'm freaking out. I get back in the car. I call the cops. They're not saying anything. They're not doing anything. Everybody I know is laughing. And I'm thinking, I would laugh too. So we go grab dinner. We all just go get dinner. I was like, oh man, let's get my mind up this Mandarin. Let's go get some real food. We go get food with Mufti Wasim and the guys. Dad calls me again. I'm on the phone outside the restaurant, consoling him. Baba, it's just fruit. We gonna be alright. He's not a threatening guy. Like he's a little, like, we could take him if we need to. I come back inside. Mufti Wasim holds my hand and he looks at the guys and goes, tell him. I was like, tell me what? He goes, tell him. Oh, I missed a part. Some account called Ronnie DMs me on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, he knows I'm famous.
Get the heck out of here.
I swear to God, he knows I'm famous. I'm like, oh my God, my TikTok fame is going to get my family murked. I feel terrible. So I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so crazy. Most people seems like, tell him. I'm like, tell me what? And they're all like, it was us, man. I was like, what do you mean it was us? I was like, I know Ronnie. I've seen him. He goes, nah, man, he ain't never left a Mandarin there, but it was us. We bought a whole bag. We just been leaving it there for the last 6 days. I saw red. I saw orange, I should say. I start swinging because 2 people were responsible. I start swinging on the first one. Second one goes to the back, like runs towards the bathroom. I get kicked out of Denny's. We all basically we all get dismissed. We like, especially me. Like I was escorted out, and the guy I was punching on,
Mufti.
huh? No, an employee.
No way.
Yeah, employee. He's like, we're gonna have to ask you to leave or whatever. So I walk out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. And then I go back just to tell the 2 who were responsible. I said, you're coming to my house and you're explaining this to my dad, and you're gonna apologize to his face. I'm not doing this like, oh, I'm sorry, it was my friend. I'm not taking the blame on that. You're coming and you're apologizing to my father, right? They try to get in my car. I was like, get on my car, bro. Get in your own car and drive to my house. You better be there when I get there, right? I get there. They come up to my dad and they say sorry. And my dad starts laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing about, dog? Like, my dad has a sense of humor about this, but I am so mad. And I can't take it back now. Like, I'm already upset. Because that's not a...
You're invested. You can't act like, okay.
But also, like, I don't forgive you. Like, you had me... I was calling the cops in front of you over some fruit. And you niggas let me.
They essentially took the real story about Ronnie leaving a orange in front of his ex-fiance's thing. And
started doing it to me.
It on.
And that was the last day I ever opened up to them niggas. Yeah. It was over after that. For 6 months, they were dead to me. You don't understand. They were dead to me. I didn't salam them. I walked past them. I could care less. 6 months later, some reason, I just decided to let it go.
It's gone.
And Allah placed us and Umrah together. All of us. I wish I could say Ronnie was there too, but oh my God, it was crazy wild ride. But yeah,
man. Shout out Ronnie.
I guess. Shout out
that wouldn't have been possible without you.
The friends in quotes.
Man, that